I'm Lawrence Francis, host of Interpreting Wine, welcoming you to the 2024 Georgia Travel Series. Produced in collaboration with the Georgian National Tourism Administration. This series was recorded in person in Georgia during an intense few days between the 8th and 11th of May 2024. The period marks a comprehensive and varied schedule of wine fairs and celebrations held in and around Tbilisi each year. And across these 3 series episodes, we'll revisit the tradition of past Interpreting Wine City series, but this time expanding our horizons and covering places and cultures outside of the Georgian capital. During the series, we'll hear from a selection of local guests, most born in Georgia, with some guests having moved there in recent years, settled and now calling Georgia their home. This is a series I can't wait to share and is undoubtedly the most up-to-date exploration of Georgia as a travel destination, available anywhere in podcast format. I dare you to hear the stories and passion from this series and not want to start planning your visit today. Please save and share this series on whatever platform you're listening on. Alternatively, you can bookmark interpretingwine.com/Georgia24 for direct access to the series' Spotify playlist. In episode 560, we explored the series of wine fairs that take place each year in the company of local and international winemakers. And today, in episode 561, I invite you to explore the wider cultural scene in Tbilisi. We kick things off today with another interview recorded at Zero Compromise, but my guest, Nathan Moss, wasn't there to show his wines. Rather, he was showcasing what Georgia has to offer in terms of food. Enjoy! So, as you've already heard in episode 560, the location for Zero Compromise is this incredible event space in downtown Tbilisi. And while I spent most of my time undercover in the main tasting area, there was also a separate food alley, which provided much needed sustenance across the 2 days of the fair. And it was quite by chance that there I met Nathan Moss, a fellow British entrepreneur who now calls Tbilisi home. Already tuned into the Tbilisi culinary scene, instinctively I thought his story and reflections would be a great way to kick off this episode as we broaden the perspective out from wine.
My name is Nathan Moss. I'm the owner, director and founder of Saidana. We are a charcuterie shop. We make our own natural charcuterie from our own pigs, hot sauces, bagels, many other products, cider. We sold natural wines. We're looking to expand into working with beef and doing many more products in the next year or two, working with other animals as well. We have a large vegetarian and vegan component as well to what we do. We try to be inclusive and tasty and local and seasonal and respectful of the produce and the producers. In 2006, my godparents first came to Georgia on a singing tour. They fell in love. They started their own choir and started coming often with a local singing teacher. In 2008, they bought an apartment in Signahi in eastern Georgia, and in 2013 they asked me to come for 1 week to help do some renovations. So I was in Signahi for a week. I didn't go any other parts of Georgia. Every night, eating and drinking at Pheasant's Tears, and just fell in love. It was hard not to. So I asked John, the owner, if I could come and learn about wine. I wasn't working in the wine industry. I didn't even like wine before. The first wines that kind of made me think and feel something, I tasted in Georgia. I'd always been into food and drink, but in fact in school before my A-levels I flipped a coin between culinary school and engineering, landed on engineering. So it's always been something I've been passionate about. So I asked him if I could come. He said, come back in spring when the season starts. So April 25th, 2014, I landed in Signahi. I was living literally at Pheasant's Tears restaurant, working, learning about wine, working as a sommelier, helping John with his tours and his guests and porters and writers and restaurateurs. So I had a really big crash course in kind of wine and tourism here. I was there for about a year, learning about wine. I bought a few Quevri for my godparents' basement. I tried to make some cider. It ended up very good vinegar. And then I met my now wife, who was living in Tbilisi, an architect, and briefly had a restaurant in Tbilisi with a Danish partner. wasn't very successful. I was a bit young, lots of mistakes were made. But after that, so now we're talking 2016, I started thinking about what I wanted to do. What did I miss? What was there here? And it took me a bit of time to think about that. I got married in 2017, and around the same time, so actually at the end of May, 21st of May 2017, I bought my first pig. I had got an old Soviet fridge and a meat grinder and a sausage stuffer, and I went down to the Sunday Bazaar below Signahi, and I bought a whole pig.
As you do.
Of course. I'd had River Cottage curing and smoking cookbook, and I'd watched a YouTube video, and I went from there. And the first pig was a disaster. I forgot to buy any spices. I just had salt and pepper. Didn't know what I was doing. So I ended up with lots of very bland things and lots of disasters. About 6 months later, I got my second pig. I remembered spices. I got a better fridge that was able to hold the temperature. And I'd watched a better video that helped me more, and it was a lot better. And so I started getting pigs every 3-4 months, thereabouts. In the summer of 2018, one of my friends told me that he was raising pigs, and he was raising them in the woods behind his sister's house in the day, and in the evening they were inside, only being fed whole grain, no premix, no hormones. Was I interested in buying some? He only had a few. So I started getting some, and it was the most unbelievable meat. It was dark, it almost looked like beef. It was amazing fat, amazing flavour. And so I knew I'd found the person who I wanted to raise pigs for me. So then in 2019, I sought some investment. I moved my production from my kitchen in Signahi to Tbilisi. I rented a small space while simultaneously buying a bigger space that we would renovate. My wife being an architect, she did the designs and plans. And I used some of the investment for my friend who's raising the pigs to build a proper pigsty at the bottom of his garden with fence around the woods below there, and get a lot of piglets and some sows and a boar so we could start growing that properly. So really a very strong partnership. I don't have any percentage, I don't own any of the land. He's paid me back the investment over time by discount on the pigs that just finished about a month ago. So it's really all his. I've not taken anything, there was no interest. So he was actually planning on going to Kazakhstan to earn money for his family before this, and this has helped him stay to support his family. And it's sustainable for me, it's sustainable for him, so it's great. So I started working in Tbilisi, started taking pigs every 2 or 3 weeks, and all of autumn 2019 and winter 2019 to 20, I was working hard. I was like, okay, next season, tourist season, tons of products ready. I'm going to supply bars and restaurants and shops. March 2020, I'm going to have a load of stuff ready. It's going to be great. We all know what happened. So I had to slow things down. Still able to sell a bit of stuff, mostly directly. And then in 2020 in the summer, a friend of mine started selling bagels from his apartment. And we were talking, and I was telling him about the space that I got that we were renovating. And it was bigger than I had originally planned. It had a lot of room for like a cafe. So I said to him, hey, why don't we partner up our businesses? So in July 2021, we opened for takeout and delivery in this new space. He was doing his bagels and sandwiches. I was doing my meat production. We started expanding the production to jams and hot sauces and whatever else we wanted and missed. And in December 2021, we opened for dine-in service. 2022 was crazy, especially with all the Russians coming. It was just insane. And he got a bit burnt out. So at the end of 2022, I went to my partner and got a bit more investment, and we bought him out of the bagel business. So for the last year and a half almost, I've been running it entirely as my own, slowly increasing the range of what we're offered. So the hot sauces have become a really big thing of what we're doing now. We've got 10 fermented hot sauces, a bunch of non-fermented ones. I buy the chilies from a farmer that I know in Kaheti. I'm using my Quevrier cider vinegar for them after fermentation. And so that's been really expanding. That's kind of where I'm at now. I've been doing the festivals for a few years. My business, Saidana, means where is it from? With the idea being all of the products that I'm sourcing, I know where it's coming from, or I'm doing it myself. I think that having that provenance of where your food is coming from is very important. That's kind of where I've got to now.
One thing that really stands out from your story is, you're obviously very relatable to me and to the audience. You're from the UK and, came to Georgia, you can say, as a foreigner, and now you're family, you're obviously deeply integrated into the culture here, you're here for good,
yes, exactly.
Let's say. And I think something that would be really interesting, and it can be fairly short, we don't need to get into lots of politics and lots of the depth of it, but, something that keeps coming up from Georgians that I speak to, and maybe they haven't, fully got the outside perspective, because they're Georgian and this is their life and they're living it. It's just where they are in terms of, that openness to outside influences, to rediscovering, I guess, their culture through food. Post-Soviet, that kind of, maybe, I think it's interesting in the same way with wine and grapes. It seems as though, food was also industrialized, food was greatly simplified, and maybe now those shackles are still kind of coming off, and people are still kind of exploring that. So maybe, the reception to your concepts, to your ideas from locals as well as international, I think that might be an interesting window on that.
So something that I've always been quite careful about is I've not wanted to be a foreigner coming here and telling Georgians I know better. So it's kind of one of the reasons why I'm doing not Georgian recipes and dishes. I kind of feel like, I could have my own impact, and my tacos have plenty of influence, for example, that I'm serving this weekend.
Yeah.
But I've always felt my position can be to say, hey, there's a whole world out there. You have amazing produce. Let me show you some other interesting things that show it off. I don't want to say this is any better than what you do. I just want to say this is different. So obviously for a lot of non-Georgians here, they're very excited because it's often things they miss as well. For a lot of Georgians, if the Schengen, European Schengen visa-free travel hadn't come in, I think I would have struggled a lot more. But because of that, there is a lot of Georgians who are able to travel to Europe and see a lot of these kind of products and come back and wonder, where are they? Why aren't they here? Where can we get them? And so I'm providing that service. I'm also, by working hard to keep things Georgian ingredients, Georgian producers, Georgian suppliers, I think a lot of them really respect that, because it would be very easy for me to import half the stuff or more, or use frozen, mass-produced, stuff. So I think a lot of Georgians still have a connection to their village. They understand the importance of that side of life, and so I think there's a respect and understanding there.
I guess, I'll try to butcher, no pun intended, a bit of a kind of a closing question, really. And I think, I don't want to, profess to be the BBC or, this isn't going to change the world necessarily. But I think also, I like to talk to the one person that's listening, and picture that one person who's there, who hears this in New York or in London. I'm just curious, what do you think, how can people get involved? How can they help if they're curious about Georgia, if they want to learn more? What would you say is maybe an interesting way to visit? I want to get people to come and visit, but to go beyond just coming to Tbilisi or just going to wineries. What else might people experience, or what might they choose to research before coming?
So I think it's the easiest way to start getting involved, I think, and understand what you like and what you want to seek out, is seek out Georgian wines, seek out Georgian restaurants, start to understand... Exactly. Start to understand what some of the things are. So when you come, I wouldn't say having expectations is necessarily the right phrase, but having an understanding of what you want more of, I think can be very powerful. And then in terms of getting here and going out there and seeing new things, there's a lot of small blogs that have great restaurant lists, great winery lists, but also messaging some people. I get messages from people saying, hey, we came to your place, we tried some of these wines or this food, we love it. Do you know how we can go and visit these people? And I'm always happy to tell them. All the wines I sell in my shop, I know the producers. That's important for me. And messaging a producer and saying, hey, I'd like to come and visit you. This is the route we're taking. Do you know anyone else along that road that's worth stopping at? Because it's a community here. A lot of natural wine, especially restaurants and bars in Georgia and producers, understand that for us to truly be successful, we can't have a hugely competitive market. We have to have a cooperative market. We have to recommend each other. We have to make it a scene. And so reaching out and asking questions, people are happy to share because they want their friends to succeed, because they understand. And we've built this culture. You see at this festival, we've built this culture where promoting each other promotes us at the same time. And it promotes the country and the food and the drink and the gastro farm houses that you can go and stay at and all of these things. So I think that's the best way.
So there we have it, a really cool insight into one man's expat story, which I think speaks to openness, creativity and entrepreneurialism in the Georgian capital. And even though Nathan, his wife and his business Saidana are based in the capital, his story also shows the numerous connections that exist with other regions of Georgia and offers some great tips on how to start researching your Georgia visit in your home country. We switch gears now by both heading out into Tbilisi and handing the mic to another of the Georgian guests. Giorgi Andghuladze is the head chef at Craft Wine, one of a number of natural wine-led spots in Tbilisi, where they serve over 300 natural wines, all from local producers, with a few overseas wines on the list for good measure. Here we also discussed their approach to food. The tradition and quality of Georgian food is sometimes overshadowed by its wine. And Giorgi was very open about discussing the difficult recent past for Georgian cuisine and the resurgence and rediscovery of traditional recipes made with quality local ingredients sourced from all corners of Georgia.
Hello everyone, I am George, head chef of Craft Wine restaurant. This is a natural wine restaurant and it's based in capital city of Georgia, in Tbilisi, very historical, on a very historical street, Ninashvili Street, and this house is very historical as well because they lived a very famous French writer Alexandre Dumas in 19th century. This is communal company, and we have restaurants in Georgia and in different cities. So this is our third restaurant. We started to make our first restaurant. It was Weller, it's a Middle Eastern restaurant, and then we make Dolly in Tel Aviv, and then it was Craft Wine restaurant. So what's Craft Wine restaurant? What can we say about Craft Wine restaurant? This is very good twist to Georgian dishes and Georgian natural wines from small wineries. We have more than 300 Georgian wines and only Georgian dishes. We recovered and developed these Georgian dishes because this is our passion to find some good ingredients, some good dishes as well, new ingredients, and make really traditional Georgian dishes with our touches. We can talk about Georgian dishes because it's very interesting. Sakartvelo is a very ancient country, and there were a lot of cultures, Greek culture, Romanian culture, Arabic culture, and there were a lot of religions during and after post-Soviet Union. Our cousin has been destroyed 20 years ago. We tried to start recovering and developing our cuisine and our winemaking. So we have really good restaurants in Georgia, especially in Tbilisi, and Craft Wine restaurant is one of the iconic. So when we started to developing our menu, we thought, we have a lot of really good dishes, but we need something different. So we used different techniques. We try to find really good and high quality Georgian products from all of regions of Georgia, from mountains, from seaside, west, east, and from everywhere. That's why Kraftwine restaurant is very famous in Tbilisi. So, for example, I can talk about one of the my favorite dish, Khmeruli. This is very, very simple dish. Just we need only 4 ingredients, and this is garlic, chicken, good garlic, good butter, and chicken stock. That's all. So, like our grandmother make it, but some Georgian chefs in some restaurant they change this thing and they made with milk or with sour cream. I don't like it. I hate it. So we try to find the ways how can we make our dishes really tradition and make something really new. So everything this is there is in Kraftwine restaurants. We have traditions, new techniques, and really good products. This is our secret.
Yeah. For that dish, is it only Georgian techniques that you're using, or are you kind of drawing on maybe some of these other techniques?
Yeah.
If you're allowed to tell me. I know it might be secret.
Yeah. Okay. I can say that this is not only Georgian techniques and Georgian ways to make good dishes. So we travel a lot, we eat a lot, we drink a lot in other countries, we like this everything, and we find some really good techniques. For example, in Italy, for example, in French, but with butter and stock, this is everything. When you reduce everything, why not? Why can you not make it with Georgian dishes? So that's all. It's very simple and tasty.
And to close out the interview, I asked Giorgi to give us a virtual tour of Kraftwine, showing how the staff and guests use the various spaces, including the beautiful outside space they use in all 4 seasons.
When you come inside in Kraftwine bar, we have my lovely place. For me, this best place in Kraftwine bar. This is our yard, and in 4 seasons I like to be there and drink wine when it's winter. Something red and strong with tannin wine, and a little bit cold outside, but we have heaters, and it's good. And this is spring now, and it's good weather, and something sparkling wine with this yard. This is excellent for me. So then next, it's first room. We is wine barrels, our bar, and our drinks. Some spirit drinks. There are a lot of drinks because we have natural wine bar, but we think that we should have every drink. So the next room is very close to show kitchen. If you sit there, you can see everything what's happening in kitchen, and I love that. If I am the guest in somewhere. Every time I sit very close to show kitchen because I love when I see how to making my food. So
of course,
they are work really good, really pretty waiters and really talented chefs in the kitchen. We have really small kitchen, but very comfortable. So that's why we have really good product, Kraftwine restaurant.
I love it. On the second night of my trip, my next guest welcomed myself and a group of visitors from the US into the home she shares with her husband, winemaker at Gotza Wines. They are located in Kiketi, that's K-I-K-E-T-I, not Kaketi, and Kiketi is a mere 30 minutes drive from Tbilisi. However, I knew we were in for a different type of experience because as I drove up with my friend Carlos, I could literally feel my ears popping and the temperature at Gotza Wines was several degrees cooler than down in the city. But let's fill in the blanks of that cultural experience by introducing you to our host that evening, who will tell you in her own words why she loves opening the doors of her home to interested visitors from all over the world.
Okay, I'm Nina Akhaladze. So I'm a person who loved so much my country because it's so poor, but with so much culture, so interesting life, with big heart. We have so much to share with different nationalities, and we're proud of our culture, our script, our wine, our polyphony, our gastronomy. And what we are seeing now, that so many people are coming from different countries to Georgia, and they want really to share the food, wine, culture, and different kind of the richness what we have. So I got married with Zaza Khutsishvili, who was architect, and later he became the winemaker. And he, more than 10 years, he's making these wines with different varieties of Georgian grapes, and I think he's doing very good his job. And because of this, then the reality became quite different, that the people wanted so much, besides the wine tasting, they wanted to eat and taste the Georgian gastronomy. So because of that, I created kind of the adventure dinners, which we are offering in Kikete, which is not far away from Tbilisi. It takes just 30 minutes to drive from Tbilisi. So I think all the combination that covers wine, gastronomy, culture, art, this is the Georgia. So we are having now so many people from all around the world, and we're so proud of it because we're the first line of Georgian people who are greeting and sharing our richness, what we are having. And to tell the truth, we're very proud of it, of course. And thanks God, we are meeting so many nice people all around the world. I am also involved. I have my corporate life as well, and my private life, just to divide it. Yeah. So my corporate life is very diverse. I was working for an NGO and business there. And besides this, I'm now involved in a very interesting project, which is get together very interesting leader women. And me and my co-founder, friends, we created the company Global Women Experience. So, and we are working on this project, which is very exciting in Georgian reality. And besides, I'm working in one of this company. I'm head of procurement supply chain management department as well. But what is very important, that besides all my corporate life, I have another life, which is my private life, which is dedicated to hospitality industry, adventure dinners, which is my kind of this daughter. And I think it's very important that we are creating this space where people from different countries, when we are visiting our place, they're sharing the real culture, the real food, the wine and art, which is combining all together. So this is the most important and valuable things, I think, what we are offering to people. So they are feeling that whenever you are coming to our house, where we're living there, it's kind of the everyday life, which is very, I think, valuable things. And they are sharing our culture. So that is this point what we are offering for foreigners when they're visiting our place. I think this is the most important things.
I'm so happy to be back in Tbilisi, is the truth. I'm so happy to be back in Georgia. And the focus of this episode, though, is actually Tbilisi. And I'm excited that on this, my second visit to Georgia, I'm going to actually spend more time in Tbilisi than the first time. When in the first time I spent more time in Kakheti and visiting wineries outside of Tbilisi. So we, as a group, were very honored to be invited to your home and really, I think to kind of experience one of these adventure dinners, can we say? But I don't want to assume anything. That's always the way with me. So I would like to just let you describe to me and describe to the listener what is if it even exists, a typical adventure dinner? You know, how do people find you to book in the first place? And then what is the adventure like when they've made the very short 30-minute drive up to Kakheti, up to your house, and find their way into your place?
So thank you so much for this question. How do people find us? I don't know how to tell the truth. So there's a different ways. It's a Google map. This is the spread of the mouse as well, which is most valuable for me. And also my Instagram page as well. You know, they're just they're coming as a group as well, the couple as well, the couple of friends. They want to come. 2 people, 4 people, 6.
Okay.
And 10 or 20 and even 50. Some of them, they want to come and enjoy their birthday party, even the small wedding party, by the way, which is a little bit chaotic, but at least I'm saying that this is not kind of the restaurant, but this is our house to share our culture. So whenever, if you wish, we're happy to share our home with you. So this is kind of the very boutique style of this environment. So whenever you come to us, the sightseeing, what you can see, this is the winery. We're sharing how we're making the wine, and because there's so many people, they are interesting. How are the technology of the winemaking? So there's the barrels, the favorite barrels, and even the smell. When I opened the door, the first impressions is the smell, and said, "Oh yes, so we love the smell." And then this kind of the tour, how we're making the wine, how we make this beer as well, because there's one section, the kind of this presentation, how we're making this artisan beer in query barrels. And in the COVID period, I was also making the cheese as well. And there's a pasta, homemade pasta machine. So, and besides this, when people are coming out, they see our house. And backside of the house, there's a big forest. And the big room, by the way, which is furnished by me. I don't know, by my taste. Some people, they love. My husband, he does not like it. I don't know why. But, they mostly furnished the art as well, which is painted by my father-in-law. It was kind of the present for our family. And we are very thanks to this kind of the presents. And people, they do love. This is kind of this combination of gastronomy, the food, yes, the wine, and the art together. Whenever you are visiting our house, you feel all these potentials. Where you are. So you are in Georgian family, and you're eating the food. You taste the food. You taste the wine, and also you get this impression from these beautiful pictures.
Sure. And I'm going to ask you a hard question now.
Yes.
How do you make an experience like that you've described there, where absolutely, you do feel like you're in such a relaxed, I would say, inviting space. But how do you actually make it so, calm and relaxed, but then also, I guess, achieve a little bit some of your, wider goals around actually letting people feel closer to the Georgian culture and the Georgian history, which is so rich, but not overwhelming people, but let them feeling that going away like they know something unique or different about Georgia.
How we're making it?
Yeah,
I think this is our. I don't know. I think this is very personal touch.
Yeah.
Yes, this is for me. Each guest is unique, and I'm trying to treat them that they are our guests. As I mentioned, that the guests is coming from the God, we are treating the guests the special, and I'm trying to make them feel that the Georgia is very important. For me, my homeland is very important. I love my country so much, and I am always trying to share this love with different people, whenever they're coming to Georgia, because I'm treating with them very special. I want to feel them that this food, the wine, art, culture, script, songs, polyphony, whatever, is unique. We're a very small country, but with big heart, with big passions, and this is very valuable, which is very important, the emotional touch.
I love it, and it, as well, it just speaks to me that you're listening as well. You know, it's a two-way communication. You know, people tell you by what they ask you, by where their eyes light up when they look at something or hear something. Then you can go deeper into that. So it's just, I just encourage anybody that does, come to visit you, just to, enjoy the experience and follow and ask questions. And I really just have one final question. So I have listeners in the US, in the UK, in Scandinavia, all over the world, and I'm just keeping it really broad and open. What would you like to say to them? What in closing, any kind of message or anything that you'd like to send from here, from the center of Tbilisi, out into the universe, let's say.
Thank you for this opportunity. I will tell to everyone, to the universe, please, we're waiting for you. The Georgia is a very small country, but with big heart, with the passion, and we love our guests, and we're open our doors for you to share our culture, to share our gastronomy, our history, our polyphony, whatever, and we're welcoming you for 24 hours. This is very important. We're a small country and we need support from the world.
Something very different to close out the episode now, because at Zero Compromise, I was able to interview local musician Zaza Khutsishvili, a well-known musician who has now started his own wine project, giving us a really interesting insight into the music scene in Tbilisi, showing that you can see top local musicians in small intimate venues all over the city. Zaza also shares some fascinating insights into cultural development in Tbilisi under the Soviet Union and the folk music scene in different regions of Georgia.
Hello, I'm Zaza Khutsishvili, singer, songwriter. I used to have a quite popular band, Wakis Parki, in Georgia. And since 2 years, I perform with my name, Zaza Khutsishvili Band, with other musicians. Since 2 or 3 years, I'm involved in winemaking. It's very interesting for me. I like very much amber wine. I have many good friends, winemakers, and so I was influenced by them to start this.
With your history and your band, could you say something about where you've played, which kind of venues in Georgia, and also maybe internationally, and who comes to see you when you play outside?
You see, I'm singer-songwriter, as I mentioned, and we have already 6 studio albums. And some of songs are quite popular here in Georgia. For Georgia to have 4 or 5 million views in YouTube, it's because all we are 3.7 million people in Georgia, and so it's a quite success. And people know me when I walk, even on this wine exhibition. Many people know me with the name, and Batono Zaza, please come and taste our wines, etc. At the moment, we are playing small stage like pub because in Tbilisi, and also sometimes bigger stages. You see, it's not a huge market, Georgia, and you cannot give 50 or 100 shows a year. And but I love music so much that I cannot wait 3 or 4 months for a show, and so I have to play in pub. It's absolutely other feeling because these people are straight ahead of you, and you have a contact that you don't have on a big stage. And after all, it's a practice with the band, because when you are playing so much gigs, it works like watches, Swiss watches, everything. And so we are in a good form to play and perform, and voices and balance of the band, which is very important. And as for outside, for 22 years, every year we are going, except of this pandemic situation, we are going to Azerbaijan, where there is a British business group, and a lot of businessmen, English-speaking businessmen, are together there. This oil companies, etc., etc. And in the middle of December, they are celebrating together Christmas party, and after this, they are going to their homes. Sure. So normally it's 15th of December or closest Saturday. And I'm very happy that for 22 years, the guys who've been on Pink Floyd, David Bowie, and etc., so good concerts, they are inviting us for 22 years. Yeah. And every time I'm thinking that why cannot they find a good band in Azerbaijan? Because they have to buy me plane tickets for 7 people. Sure. They have to get a hotel for me, and so these expenses are going high. If they can hire a local band, but it looks that they like us, so it's a great, and I love when all this crowd are singing lyrics together with you, and it's absolutely other feeling, and so we are very happy always to go there. This is the only place, and once we were also in Yerevan, capital of Armenia. Also playing in a jazz cafe.
Sure. Okay. No, that's cool. And I think something that people will know about Georgia and will know about Tbilisi is it's often described as a melting pot. You know, it's like a meeting point of Europe and Asia. Often people talk about this. So I just wonder if you would share a little bit, as you mentioned before we started recording, around the crowd that comes to see you, because I believe it's, again, like the city is a melting pot. I believe the audience and the people that you attract to come and watch you, as well as the music you play, is also a melting pot.
You see, the very interesting for me is that my best songs are written about 20 years ago. And I'm very happy when young people are coming to pub and they are singing my lyrics with me, because it's other generation, and I think that it's influence of their parents. That normally the young kids always catch what the parents are doing, and you see there are 2 foreigners. They work for some foreign organizations. And they are coming every Saturday for 2 years, and so it's also very great pleasure for me. But it's clear that they are not bored with my playing. And what else to say? It's you see, music is my life. I dedicated all my life to music. I was born in and grown up in Soviet Union, and we have really hard times because this was closed system, and some diplomats or some guys who had really good connections were bringing some LPs, and this information was coming to us a bit late. And then we started to record on a tape from this LP player. Yeah. And this 5th or 6th recording was really awfully bad. And I was listening to this guitar solos of David Gilmour, Richie Blackmore, Jimmy Page, and I was trying to imitate these solos. I graduated from keyboard, playing piano, 7 years I studied, and I have some basement of music theory and playing. Yeah. And so it was not very difficult for me to understand how these guitar solos are in harmony. And so we couldn't have a really good teacher. You couldn't buy a really good guitar in the shop. It was only from Soviet countries, and in Soviet countries everything was of bad quality. You see, even German people, I admire of German people for many reasons, like many other European people. And you see, when it was divided in West Germany and East Germany, West Germany was producing Porsche, Audi, Volkswagen, Mercedes, BMW, Opel, and East Germany was producing Trabant. Yeah. You know this car, Trabant? You heard about this? And this is the difference of East and West for me. Yeah. Yeah. And also these instruments. And in this system, people who were robbing and doing a bad quality product lived better. when you fill your tank in a car, if they were stealing 1 liter from 40, they could get more money. And when they were producing sausages, and when they could make money only because it was plan economy, and they could not raise price. And so they were making low quality because the government was saying that 3 rubles is maximum for sausage. And nobody could do anything.
So you just spend less to make it.
And that's why also the wine, Georgian wine, has big problems because it was wine for whole Soviet Union. You had to fill this market, and Georgians always have 2 wines, wine for themselves and the second from this whole market.
Sure.
And fortunately, this finished and. On that times, you could not plan your family with the living with the music. It was absolutely not, because everybody, even it was a really good singer or bad singer, they all have like 70 or 25 rubles for a show. It doesn't matter how many people were. Absolutely crazy system. People who don't know the system, they are always looking with the big eyes and couldn't understand this.
Something that I've heard a lot about when it comes to Georgian music is polyphonic singing. So I'm going to ask you a really broad question, really. I guess firstly, to explain polyphonic singing, because I've never heard it explained by a musician, and I think that would be interesting for me and for the audience. And also, maybe talking about what connections from Georgian music and past Georgian music styles you might say that we see also coming through in your music.
Yeah, very good question. You see, as I mentioned about wine, this amber wine is really very characteristic. It's very close to Georgian people, because you can try many good wines like Chardonnay from Chile, from South Africa, very good wines from Australia, etc., etc. But this amber wine making with the fermentation with the skin, it's originally Georgian method, and everybody agrees now that this country has tradition of 8,000 years of winemaking. And also the very interesting thing, which could be very interesting for the whole world who are coming to Georgia or just listening to its music, it's our folk music. And you see, this country has absolutely stunning climate and ground. There are mountains, and in 2 hours you can ski in Godauri and then come and swim in the sea in Batumi. And also from east to west, it's like subtropical in Lagodekhi and Ajara, and absolutely other climate in other places. And could you imagine that Gurian people, Megrelian people and Kakhetian people have their own folk music, which is not so similar to each other. It's like other, and it's very close to character of the people. Because in Kakheti, all the songs were, when the Kakhetians were singing when they fight with the people who are coming from Muslim countries. And you know that some 200 or 300 years ago, Georgia had peace maybe for 5 years or something. All the other time we were fighting all these neighbors who were trying to seize us. And so these songs are absolutely coming from, it's like soul music for Afro-American people. It's coming from our souls, and it's very interesting. And you cannot listen to this to harmony and polyphonic things with the other. Many people have very interesting folk, but it's absolutely outstanding Georgian, and that's why it's very interesting. And as for rock music, you see, I understand that when I learned everything from these bands from West, it's very difficult to find your own sound. It's very difficult. And you see, the first what I got and what I decided that when I sing in Georgian, this Georgian language already gives some other sound. If I started to sing in English, and English language has its own articles and strong sizes and finishing, and it will be absolutely same like bands, and you will be like a cartoon of this super bands. And so I always trying to find, it's very difficult to be 100% outstanding, but this is my wish, and I always trying to do. And every time when I bring a new song, I ask guys, does it sound something like we already listened? Yeah, this melody is beat like in Pink Floyd. Okay, I will change this. And unfortunately, some people are trying to do exactly the same. When they play hip hop and etc. It's kind of strange for me when the bands from Azerbaijan, Armenia, and Georgia, and all the eastern countries, they are trying to imitate this hip hop singers, and they sound absolutely in the same way. And that I can understand that this is not interesting for foreign people because they have better bands there, and so you have to find your own sound and kind of. Some interesting seed what you are putting in music to be interesting for other people.
You're an interesting person because you're now started making wine, and we're here in a wine festival, and you're tasting lots of wine, and you're tasting international wine. So I think it's an interesting comparison, exactly what you've just said about the music. I think it's also true about the wine as well. It's like, you know, you have lots of Georgian history, you have lots of international history about music, you also have that about wine as well. So I'm curious just to get a brief overview of your project, where you are with that, and how do you see those influences coming together in your wine?
Yeah, that's also a very good question because also good winemakers, they have their own way of doing. Some little nuances can change really good aromas or something. And you see, when I came this year on this exhibition yesterday, I was looking for Zaza Khutsishvili wine, because last year I remember that I loved it and it was the best I tried. And this year it's a bit different. And you see, it comes because of this natural winemaking, what we are here. They don't use many chemical things, and that's why sometimes wines are different from each year. It's not like a standard wine taste what you have. It can be a bit different or absolutely other type. Yeah, and my problem is that I don't have my own vineyard. But my cousin is really one of the best winemakers who planted 7 hectares of wine, different wines, and he planted Montepulciano from Italy and Tempranillo from Spain. And you see this when this plant is coming to Georgia with the Georgian sun and ground, it gets absolutely other color, aromas, and it's very interesting wines. And also he has this tradition Georgian Katsiteli, Mzoane, etc. So he has 7 or 8 or 10 types of grapes there. And so we decided that next year I will bring this from him. I will buy because I know that he will do his best to take care of grapes and let's see because at the moment I'm learning many things. I ask everything and you see I don't have problems to ask questions to people, even about music. I have a huge experience. I'm nearly 60 years old and next year I will be 60. But still, it's always opinions are very interesting, and some I get and some I throw away. But you have to listen to people and to share this experience. And so I will be very happy if someday on the exhibition like this, some specialists will say that this is good wine.
When you're making wine, you're making together.
No, it's him. No.
So different.
No. I will get grapes after harvest from him and do myself.
Where will you make?
I make it. I have a kind of a villa house near Tbilisi in Sneti region, and it's very quiet there, and I love being there. And only good thing what I'm coming for to Tbilisi is playing music. Otherwise, I hate coming here because all these traffic jams and etc. etc. And I have really big car with a pickup. And so to park this car is I park it maybe 500 or 700 meters from here.
Okay.
Yeah.
All that's left for me to say is a huge thank you to all of today's guests: Nathan Moss, Giorgi Andghuladze, Nina Akhaladze, and Zaza Khutsishvili. You can of course discover all series guests by searching them on social media, and the full names of all guests is included in the show notes of each episode. If you do reach out to them, please do let them know you heard them on Interpreting Wine. The Georgia National Tourism Administration website is gnta.ge, linked below, and they also have a presence on social media. At the end of that second episode of this 3-part series, Zaza hinted at where we will continue next. With as many options as you'll find there for food, wine and music, sometimes you just need to escape the city. Which sets us up perfectly for the third and final part of the series, where we explore outside of Tbilisi, connecting with several cultural figures, offering us an insight into what can be found and experienced outside of the capital. So please make sure you're subscribed to be alerted when the next episode of the 2024 Georgia Travel Series is broadcast. See you then.